Hi, I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to another edition of Black Dragon Biker TV. And as always, we'd like to thank you for tuning in from wherever it is that you happen to be in the entire world. And we have another Ask Black Dragon video here. It's called something like, really haven't figured out what I'm going to call it, something like Top 5 Things to Consider Before Using Nomads to expand your 99%er Motorcycle Club Nation. So it'll be named something like that. And it's inspired by this letter that I got, actually email that I got. And I just kind of wanted to go through this. We have this nomad thing that goes on. And I guess ever since Sons of Anarchy, when Jax decided to go nomad, it became really one of those very interesting subjects in the MC community. And uh, so a couple disclaimers. First of all, everything that I tell you is based on my experiences. And so there is going to be an exception, or 10 or 20 or 100, to everything I tell you. One thing I find is when I started doing these videos that a lot of stuff that I thought I knew or absolutely knew to be absolutely true 100% turns out that, all protocol is local, so things can be different. And if your experience is different, then that's fine. And you have to go by your experience. And all things, you have to, look at all things with a jaundiced eye. So I can just tell you what my experiences have been, and if my experiences help you out, then that's a good thing. So I'm not telling anybody what they have to do, or you have to surrender your rights to mankind or an anti-American. I just, I get so sick of it. You do what's best for you. But when I get letters like this, and emails and text messages, I give my opinions, and then you can do what you want. Everybody's got an opinion. They're like rear ends. Everyone's got one, and they all stink. So here's my stinky opinion based on this interesting email, text message that I got. I'm not sure I don't remember which platform it came in on, either Facebook or YouTube or something like that. But anyway, it goes like this. Good day, sir. I watch your YouTube for many reasons. I have a question that you haven't touched that I know of. Oh, by the way, whenever I get one of these letters and I read them out loud, I typically cut out stuff that people tell me that would make this MC that someone would be able to recognize. So there's a lot of stuff that I redact, as it were, just to keep people's individual details. Is just not necessary. But I get enough of letters like this. This is about the 100th time I've been asked something about quote unquote nomad. So this is how we'll do this. I watch your YouTube for many reasons. I have a question that you haven't touched on that I know of, and I have not touched on this. I've been meaning to for a while. I've been patched into a motorcycle club. I'm a retired military person with no chapters of that club around me here where I'm located. So they patched me in as a wanderer, their version of a nomad. There is no other MC in my local area. We have a couple of other nomads. So there's no MC in this area, but there are a couple of MCs there that have nomads in this area. And one of them is a nomad from a 1%er motorcycle club near his town. And I have seen that dominant establishing more dominance in areas around me lately, which brings me to my issue. Since the 1%er has already established themselves in this area, when I asked them about wearing my cut, I was of course turned down. They told me that I would have to wear a support patch to be able to wear my cut, even to events such as fundraising or veterans parades or things like that. Of course, my club says absolutely not. So I'm kind of in a pickle. My Wanderer Sergeant of Arms. So they have these Wanderers out there, and the Wanderers have a uh, a hierarchy to them. So they have a Wanderer Sergeant at Arms who is on the opposite side of the country, hasn't ever dealt with these dominants, and doesn't have much input for me. So you're out there on your own with no input from your club, and your sergeant at arms is on the opposite side of the country. I only want to ride in peace, Black Dragon, so some advice or a counteroffer that I might be able to present would be welcomed. Um, Again, I only want to ride in peace and probably display my cut during special events or something that I might want to attend. Thank you for your time. I'm sorry if I missed the answer to this in one of your blogs. So we're going to get into a few things here. And I know there's going to be just like so many people that are not going to like what I have to say. But we're just going to have to go through it as we have it anyway. So the problem you have with Nomad, and I wrote some stuff down so I could try to get everything I'm thinking about here. So the problem you have with Nomad, and we still haven't gotten to the 5 things yet, but the problem you have with Nomad patches, Wanderer patches, Drifter patches, Ronin patches, Adventurer patches, they all mean pretty much the same thing. Or wearing any other MC patch in an area that your motorcycle club is not blessed in, is that you're going to run into these problems when you bump into the dominant MC in your area and you're sporting a patch they have not vetted, checked out, or blessed. That is the inherent situation that happens to mom and pop, 99%er, any kind of a organization that gets blessings. Bottom line is, if you are flying a patch in an area where that patch has not been blessed, you will run into this situation sooner or later. So that is the basis of your MC's problem. It is normally your national president's duty or national sergeant at arms duty to ensure that they've worked out safe passage in any area that they give you permission to fly your patch. But based on the fact that you claim to be a nomad alone, wanderer, whatever that term is, just by the fact that you claim to be that, the fact that you're wearing that alone, means that you should be able to handle this kind of situation by yourself without any support. And the fact that you cannot should let you know that you are in no way a nomad, and your club has unknowingly set you up for failure. Just the fact that you can't deal with the situation should let you know that. Your club is not supposed to just turn you loose in an area and say that you are the wanderer, nomad, drifter, ronin, etc. there without understanding that you will be running into problems, those problems that you are experiencing. Because a nomad is expected to be, a nomad is a very high level of operator on the MC set. So he's expected to be wise, knowledgeable, smart, and most importantly, well connected. He should be able to secure safe passage for his patch in any area in which he operates. And he's able to move throughout areas without any problems. He has to be strong enough to handle his own SHIT without support from his motorcycle club. This is part of the responsibility and expectations of being a quote-unquote nomad, which is why most nomads have many decades in an MC and often have established themselves heavily in the MC community. They've been presidents before, they've been founders, they've been pioneers, they've been around a while. So they have the kinds of contacts that can call on when they run into dicey situations. That's what is expected of someone of that level of seniority. The fact that you don't possess that level of experience should let you know that you don't have the seniority on the biker set to pull that title off. Let it go and leave it alone. Nomadism is not a good way for a 99%er MC to try to spread the club. So, the idea is, I get it. The idea is, well, we don't, here's an area we want to be in. Here's a guy that we want to get a club established through. So we'll just designate him a nomad. He flies the patch there. People see the patch. They're attracted to him. They ask him questions. We can get an MC established that way by sticking a guy there with colors. And if this is a guy they don't know, that's never been in their club, that's never been in an MC, they put a very senior title on him. And it's a setup for a disaster. It's the same setup that you're going through. It's the same problem that you're having, because there is a way to set up motorcycle clubs in other states, motorcycle club chapters in other states, and this is not that way. So 5 things you should consider. Here are the top 5 things you should consider before attempting to spread your 99%er motorcycle club across the country, trying to use Nomads as that conduit. Yeah, I kind of like that title. So here are the top 5 things you should consider before attempting to spread your spread your 99%er MC across the country, trying to use so-called Nomads as the conduit. 1, Nomads should never be newbies. 1, Nomads should never be newbies for all the reasons I explained up above. Or folks you give colors to just because you don't have enough men to start a chapter in certain areas. So you're just going to drop those colors in that area and try to develop an MC. Nomads operate alone and must have the set experience to handle themselves without backup from the MC, so that they don't get your club's colors snatched and hung upside down in someone else's clubhouse. Because of the high expectations put on someone wearing that patch, giving them to newbies is a silly proposition. 2, flying your colors in any area outside of the area you are blessed in will cause problems. It's just best to seek a blessing in any area where you expect to fly your colors, even if it's going to be just one guy that you plan to call a nomad. It's better to have a sit down first than a confrontation later. If your 3, if your so-called nomad's goal is to start an MC in an area that he's come in, so he comes in an area and he actually gets the permission or the blessing or the okay to fly his colors there. If your intention was to come there and start a motorcycle club chapter, make sure that you make that clear when you run them through that local board or council or COC, because most of those entities, first of all, they hate surprises. And one of the biggest reasons that they don't let strange colors fly in their area is because they don't want to look up and see that a new club has popped up where they think they have everything handled and controlled and situated. There are so many clubs in these areas that the tendency is to be against new clubs coming in. So be upfront about your situation and your intentions, so you will always be trustworthy according to your word or reputation. 4, the reason dominant motorcycle clubs can run nomads in any area is that they don't seek blessings to fly. If they pop someone in somewhere, if they drop a nomad in somewhere, no one is expecting them to get a blessing to fly. But if you're a 99%er MC and you seek blessings, because there's some 99%ers MCs that don't, they operate and they drop people where they want and they do their own thing, and they're definitely out there. And so they can drop someone there like that. They're prepared to deal with what comes with that. But if your club ain't that club, if you're in a 99%er MC that seeks blessings from dominance to fly or boards or councils or anything like that, you should avoid the whole nomad situation altogether. It is better for you to put a non-patch guy in an area, let him build up his club the old-fashioned way, so he's not flying out there by himself in a situation where he can't protect himself or has no experience or contacts and no support from MCs because his MC is 1,000 miles away. That guy should build a club the old-fashioned way. Get his guys together, do the things, contact the council, go through the steps and the procedures, and it might take a while. You know, I tell guys all the time, a new motorcycle club can take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get up off the ground. Um, some can just come in overnight. You're in a good situation. There's not a lot of MCs there. You got an easy council to get along with. You can put a club up overnight. Other times it might take a year, 2, 3, 4. I've seen it all. It has. I have chapters that have taken me as many as 5 years to get up and running. So that does happen. It's This is not an overnight kind of thing. First of all, getting riders that you can depend on that will ride that are become brothers, that takes time. Just to get 5 guys together to form a brotherhood, that takes time. So the newer generation is, delaying gratification is kind of hard. I want it and I want it now, and we're gonna put a nomad in that area, and then put an open call in the newspaper looking for all bikers that want to join, and we're going to make the first 20 guys that come to the club. You don't have to even prospect. I've seen this kind of stuff. And those clubs they get built up fast. And you look around, they got 40, 50 guys riding, and they last about 2 years. And if that's your get down, you need to avoid that whole situation altogether. This whole idea of a nomad situation, you just need to avoid that altogether. Number 5, and here is a salient one. There are many dominant clubs that absolutely deny 99 percenters to run nomads at all, for all the reasons I mentioned above. These clubs just don't feel like a 99 percenter club has enough seniority on the biker set to run nomads. And you should just look at my video called The Hierarchy of Motorcycle Clubs, so you can understand what hierarchical, is that a word? What level that clubs run in terms of their seniority on the motorcycle set. And a lot of the dominant clubs just don't feel like 99% of clubs have enough seniority to run nomads, especially if you're seeking blessings to get in an area. So many are just going to say hell no, straight out. There are 99%er motorcycle clubs that do have these nomads, drifters, whatever you want to call them, wanderers, but they adventurers, but they are normally very senior and very old clubs that truly know what they are doing. And if you are a new club on the bike set, which are most of the kind of people that contact me, just forget that whole idea. And for God's sake, don't put any newbies out there with that patch on them. It's really, like I've said a few times, too senior of a position for a newbie to get respect wearing. It would be like putting a new guy in an area with a president's patch on, with no blessing or anything. He just pops up. I'm president of Atlanta, the Atlanta chapter of the such and such club. And everybody's going to, you can already see what's going to go on there. That's the same thing when you pop a nomad into an area, and for all the things that I've mentioned above. That's the kind of response you can expect, because in all reality, someone walking up to a real nomad talking about putting a support patch on him would get his entire teeth knocked out of his mouth, no matter what club he represented. So let that one go, homie. So I hope that clears up some things for you guys. And yes, when I tell you things like this, there are always exceptions. I don't know everything. And there are some folks that get things accomplished even though I say it will never happen. So I'm just telling you how things work from my years of experience. I haven't experienced everything, so I don't have all the answers. So what works for you works for you. But those are my things you should know about this whole nomad idea. And I hope that helps you to understand what's going on with that, why you got approached and told that they don't care who you are. You're going to wear a support patch in their area. That's kind of what's going on here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I appreciate you guys. As always, I'd just like to say thanks for tuning in, and get skinny.